Good morning, everyone. I hope I am going live where I am supposed to be going live. Um, Good morning. I hope you, oh, there we go. Hello, Valerie. I have not gone live in 2 weeks. We were up in Canada celebrating Thanksgiving, and we had a wonderful time with my parents-in-law, and our son was also up in Canada during that time, so we got to see him for a few days. That was awesome. The only crazy part was on our return trip. Our flight got canceled from Buffalo to Boston, and so it kind of created this crazy hectic time back because we had to return the rental car to Buffalo, and then we managed to get a flight to JFK, and then from there we had a flight to Rhode Island because the Boston flight, all the Boston flights were full from JFK, so we flew into Rhode Island, and we got in there at midnight. And then we had to rent another car to get home, and so we didn't get to bed till 2 a.m. on Wednesday morning, and then we had to return the rental car really early on Wednesday, so it's been kind of a very busy, crazy few days getting back caught up, but I'm glad that you're here this morning with me. Oh, good. I see a few more of you have popped on here. It's always hard getting back into the swing of things after being away for a couple of weeks. But I did manage to post videos on the days that I wasn't going to be here. So I hope you enjoyed watching those videos and maybe doing some of the projects that I shared with you. Today we are going to be doing a super cute project. I need to shove it together. We're going to be making this slider box. It is actually a card box that holds the size cards that we make in Stampin' Up. And I was doing some measuring, so I moved the ribbon down. But let me situate this. So this is the box. It has a cute little window. We've done some embossing around the edges, and then you put your cards on the inside, and it also fits envelopes. So this is a very useful card box. Even if you're not going to make it for a window, you are going to want to save the instructions for this card box for the future if you gift your cards to people. You could do this up in different ways. I love the way this turns out with the window and the embossing going all the way around it. It's not a hard card box to make. Of course, it's always nice when someone gives you the dimensions. So this is what we're going to be making today. And I want to remind you, because it is such a good deal, like, we've never had a starter kit like this before. There's two options, but I'm going to talk about the $35 one more often. I can't remember when we've had a starter kit for this amount. I don't know if we've ever had it for this cheap before. And you get $125 worth of product. So our normal starter kit is the $99, and you get $125 worth of product. But they've dropped the price down to $35, and you still get $125 worth of product in your starter kit. So today, if you're looking at getting the bundle that I'm using to make this card box today, just think about that. This bundle, I'm going to check how much this bundle actually costs, because I bought it a while ago. But if you're in the US, the Peace on Earth bundle costs $38.50. So you could get this bundle for $35, plus you could add the embossing folder that I used, and the ribbon that I used, and some cardstock, and so you could get a lot of product for your $35 by getting the starter kit. So it is a great deal. If you have more things you want to put on your starter kit, then you can also get the $99 option, and then you get $189 worth of product. Both of those starter kits have $90 in free product included in them, and your starter kit ships for free. So if you're interested at all, I'm going to just pop my website up here. Check out cubiesquest.com/join, or if you get to cubiesquest.com, look for starter kit in the menu and just click on that, and it will take you to a page where I've answered more questions. And if you have yet more questions beyond that, please reach out to me. I'm always happy to answer them. And like, there is no obligation. If you have questions about the starter kit, please ask them. I think knowledge is power. We are just working on a siding and roofing project in our house, and we wanted to add insulation, but it turned out that it was going to be super complicated to do it, and in the end we're not going to do it the way we thought we were going to do it. So, but at least, I told my husband yesterday, at least we explored the option, and I feel like at least I know now that, like, I'm not going to think 5 years down the road or 2 years down the road or next year, why didn't we do this? I now know the reasons why we couldn't, or we decided not to. And that knowledge gives me power and confidence, and it makes me feel good. So if you have questions about the starter kit, please ask them. I'm a person that has a lot of questions myself. So please do. One of the great things about the starter kit is it patches you in to the Stampin' Up! Community, and it patches you in to my Bee Stampers team. We have a Facebook group that you can join. We have team stamping nights on Zoom, and team meetings on Zoom, so you don't necessarily need to be on Facebook to access those. But we have a little community of crafters. So you're not only joining Stampin' Up!, you are also joining my team, and that means you get more direct access to me. So I hope that is a perk for you. And please, like I said before, let me know if you have any questions. All right, I'm gonna pop that off the screen. Let me talk a little bit more about this. This was a bundle we had. So one of the cool things about being a demonstrator is there are some demonstrator exclusive events, and one of them is Creativity Now, that usually happens in July, and this was the bundle that they chose for this event this year. And so we made a bunch of cards during that time. I think I made 3 of the 4 cards that they shared with us. And this one was probably the easiest one. These all fit inside the box. The card front is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and these are our Stampin' Up! Medium envelopes. You get 40 in a pack. These will also fit inside the box. Oh, there is an envelope inside of here, so you can see it easily fits inside of here, and it will fit your cards. This depth right here is just over 1 inch, so you can put quite a few cards in there, kind of depending on how bulky your cards are. Like, do they have a lot of layers? Then they're gonna fit a few less. But these are the cards that we made during that Creativity Now. This one's an interesting one. This one flips open like this. It's a little different. And this one kind of ties down. It has like a flap like that, and it flips open like there's, I don't want to untie it. I don't want to tie it because then I'm going to have to tie it back up, but it has like kind of a long piece. Maybe we'll untie it afterwards when it's laying down, but this is made out of a long piece of designer paper, and then it flops open and ties down. It's kind of interesting. And then I made a bonus card for my team that attended, and this is the bonus card. It is an easel card, a side easel card. So this is the card that I put at the top because this piece right here is centered. And when you put this one on the top, you can kind of see this one peeking through. So if you're going to do a window on your card box, you need to kind of think strategically, what are you going to put on the top of the box when you gift it so it looks nice. All right, I think I've got a few of you here, so I'm going to flip over and I'm going to start making this box. And as always, I'm going to have a project sheet for you that will be mailed out on Saturday. You need to be on my email list to get that, so look down below in the link in the description for the link to join, and then you will be able to get my Saturday project sheets going forward. All right, let's switch to my messy desk. There, we're gonna zoom in, see less of the desk. Okay, let's pop these cards back in here and see my, I need to tuck this ribbon in here. Okay, there we go. We're gonna put my centered card on the top like this so that you can kind of see that going forward. Oh, I will also mention that this box has doubled over sides so that it's a little bit sturdier, and I've made it with thick basic white to also give it some strength. It just helps with everything to make it nice and sturdy. Okay, so this is the Peace on Earth bundle, and I love that this one, you could use it for Christmas, but you don't need to. I love the greeting Peace on Earth because it fits a variety of different religious holidays. I'm very inclusive. I grew up in Canada, and I grew up in a Christian household, but I felt always like my parents were trying to include everyone, and that's the way I have lived my life. So I really like the greeting Peace on Earth. It kind of is super inclusive. Peace, love, and joy. You've got heartfelt prayers. You've got big hugs for a good friend. You've got a sympathy greeting. All the best in your new adventure. You can do sending love or wishing you love. Or you could do wishing you peace, love, and joy. So it's a really good bundle. And in the die set, you have these 2 labels, and labels are great for windows and creating boxes. And then we've got these doves, and we've got these little sprigs. So there's lots of different ways that you can use this bundle. If you're getting this bundle, I also recommend getting the Peaceful Greenery 3D embossing folder because it has this window in it where you can cut the hole in the center, and we're going to be doing that. So yeah, it is a great little bundle. Okay, we are going to make this right now, and we'll start off with creating the bottom. And you're going to need a scoring board because otherwise you might go crazy doing this on a trimmer. You can score on a trimmer if you want to. Let me grab my instruction sheet, which made it all the way over to my cutting desk. All right, so this is a piece of thick basic white, and it is 8.5 by 10 inches. So for the bottom, you just need 1 sheet of cardstock, and you'll have a little bit left over. And then you're going to want to place this up at the top corner, and we are going to score all 4 sides at the 7/8 and then at the 2-inch mark. Okay, so 7/8 and 2, 7/8 and 2, 7/8 and 2 and 7/8 and 2. All right, my trimmer also was moved. Okay, so next, and I will have a diagram for you in my project sheet so you can see. So you'll kind of see that it's got 2 score lines going all the way around the edge. I'm going to cut this using my trimmer, but you are welcome to use your scissors. I'm going to slide this in with the short side up at the top, and I'm going to slide in to my first score line from the edge, and we're going to cut up from the second score line down to the edge. So I'm going to stand up to do this just so I can match my little groove right here on the side with my score line right here. So I'm just going to cut, then I'm going to lift this, and I know you're probably not going to be able to see most of this. My blade here, let me zoom out just a bit. Okay, so my blade right here is now also on the second score line in. You just need to make sure you lift your arm right here. So I've cut here and I've cut here. Then I'm going to move into my second score line in, and I'm just going to line it up with that groove. Make sure it's aligned with the top. And I'm also going to cut from the second score line out, lift this, and second score line down. So now we've got 2 and 2. I'm going to turn this 180, and I'm going to do the same thing for the other side. The other short side is now up at the top. I'm just going to line that up and cut, lift, cut. Once you get to do this on the trimmer, it's hard to go back to doing it on with the scissors, because this provides like really clean cuts and straight cuts. All right, so we've got that and we've got that. Now we're going to turn it to one of the long sides, and we're going to start with that first score line from the edge and line that up on the score groove. And again, we're going to cut from that second score line and out, and then lift, and the second score line and over. So these two corner squares are going away. And then I'm going to go the second score line. Now with the second score line, you just have to be careful, because this time we're only going to be cutting from that first score line over instead of the second score line. So here's the second one and here's the first one. So I'm going to do the first one and then the first one. So basically, if you're doing this with scissors, you need to cut away the 3 corner squares. Okay, I'm going to turn this once more, and we're going to put that first score line from the edge into that groove, and this time we're cutting away 2 squares, so you're at the second score line. So that's the first one, and you're going to get rid of those. They're not quite squares because they're not equal distance, but I'm going to call them squares, because sometimes we do have squares on the corner. And then we're going to cut just from that first score line out on the inner one. So we have something that looks like this. Okay. We've made slider boxes together before, so you can see the pattern. But if you're new, you need to know. Okay, so now we've got this little inner square that we're going to shape and make it into a tab. So I'm just going to take my scissors and I'm going to angle from the outside corner into the inside corner on both sides. It's basically like a teeny tiny wedge. And then I'm going to flip over. I'm going to keep cutting in the same spot over here on this side where my hand is comfortable. So I've got those two bottom done. And then I'm going to flip and do the bottom. Now, if you didn't do this, your box would still work. If you didn't do this wedging or tab making, your box would still work. It's just when you bring it together, that's where the crunch zone is. So when you're folding and bringing the box together, if you don't do these little wedges, that's where your cardstock's going to crumple, and you're going to have to work a little harder to get it to go in smoothly, and it might be a little crinkled underneath. You probably won't see it underneath, but as you're putting the box together, it's going to be a little harder than if you would do the little wedges. So I will have this diagram in the project sheet so that you can refer to it. So now we're going to take this piece and I'm going to fold it along all the score lines, just folding all of them in one direction. They're all going inwards. I'm going to do this other side. If I fold like this, I can fold over the two tabs at the same time that I've cut. And I'm just using that bone folder to help make that fold nice and crisp. Okay. And then we're just gonna bring this in. Okay, so take a look. These tabs are going to tuck into the short ends. So that means on the long ends, I can glue these over because these are going to tuck and nothing's going to tuck into these long ends. That's if you cut it the same way I've cut mine. If you cut into the different end, then you might not have that same situation, but try and do it the way I did it because the slider cover will fit the best if you cut in from the same side as me. Okay, so I'm putting glue on the long tab, just on the outer one, and we're going to fold this over. And here's where the bone folder is really handy. It just helps you press down into that glue and just helps your box side fold over. And you can kind of see there is about 1/4 of an inch gap. Okay, and we're going to do this one more time over on the other long side tab and just bring this together. Okay, so now we can do the short ends. So these are going to tuck like this, and then we're going to tuck like that. So this time we're going to put glue on this end real quick. I'm also, since this is a big box, I'm also going to put glue on the backs of these little tabs just to add, I don't know if you can see that, just to add a little bit more glue, because these would only have glue on the front, and that would probably be fine, but this is just going to help it just have a little bit more adhesive just to make sure your box stays together. And I'm just kind of bringing this in slowly. I don't want my corners to wrinkle at all, but I am pushing them in here on the sides. I don't know if you can see that. I don't want this going out on an angle. I want my sides to be nice and pretty flush with the edge. I don't want it also wrinkled on the inside, so it's kind of a balance between the outside and the inside. Once you've got that, you're just going to give that a little press right there. Okay. And now we're going to do the same thing for the other side. We're going to come in and add glue here. And I'm just going to do a little O of glue on these tabs, like that. And then we're going to bring this together. Now it's always hard to see the glue on white cardstock. You could choose, if you don't want to do white for your box, you could choose maybe, what is it called? Cloud cover is a good light cardstock that will contrast a little bit. I think it's just nice to have a contrasting color. I also decided to use thick basic white because it is our thickest cardstock, and it gives the box a little bit more stability and sturdiness, because you are going to be filling it with several cards, right? So, okay, so that is our box bottom. If you wanted to, you could line the bottom with this. Just go just a teeny bit shorter, measure here and go just a teeny bit shorter. You can line the bottom. If you wanted to, you could stamp a message on the inside too. There's lots of different options for decorating this up, but this is just, you know, a fairly easy box bottom, and then you can take it to the next level however you want to. All right, so next we are going to do the cover, and I think the cover might be, it's not hard, it's just, it's going to be in two pieces, and I'm going to show you right now. You're going to need 2 pieces of cardstock to create the cover. The cool thing about this particular cover is that you only need 1 sheet of cardstock. So I had my 8.5 by 11 sheet, and I cut it at 6 1/8 going this way, and then that leaves a skinny strip over for the cover. So I'll give you the dimensions here. This piece right here is 7 5/8 by 6 1/8, and this piece here is 4 5/8 by 6 1/8. So we're going to have to score one of them, and the other one we're going to cut into. So let's do the scoring first. This is going to be the bottom and the sides of the slider cover. So take your 7 5/8 by 6 1/8 inch piece and put the long side up at the top, and you're going to score at the 3/8 inch mark and the 1.5 inch mark. I could have figured out what they were on the other side too, but to make it easier, just turn your cardstock to the other long side and score at the 3/8 inch mark and the 1.5 inch mark. It's like less measurements to remember. So on both ends, 3/8 and 1.5. And this is what's going to create the bottom and sides of your slider cover. We can set this aside now because most of the work is going to be done on the top. So this piece again is 4 5/8 by 6 1/8. And before I bring out the die cutting machine, we need to do a little bit of marking up of this piece so that we can get it right for the window. I'm going to cut the window first using the largest of the 2 labels, and we need to get it centered. And then after we get this die cut, then we're going to emboss it. Okay, so to get this piece centered, let's just, we're going to pop this on here, how about? And we're going to put this, I have a centering ruler here, and I'm going to put this right here at my sides right here. Here's my center at 0, and my 2 1/4 inch and 2 1/4 inch, we're just kind of going between 2 1/4 and 2 3/8. And then I'm going to move this die piece until pretty much the edges here are on the edges of the die I can see through my ruler are at 1 and 1, and I need to find, just hold on. I have a great little white colored pencil somewhere, and it has just disappeared. It is not in my, okay. Would be nice if it was right there like it normally is. I know it's floating around here somewhere because I had it yesterday. Just hold on. It's got to be under something. Aha, here it is. Okay. You can do this with pencil unless you're doing it with dark cardstock. You might want to choose something that you can see. Okay, so this way I can do this right here. I can do a little mark on either side of my die. This is going to be cut away, right? And now when I place this in here, I'm going to just make sure those little marks are on either side of my die when I do the die cut. Okay, now I'm going to turn this over to the other side. And now my marks on here are going to be at just past the 3-inch mark on either side. So this is the long side now. And I'm going to move this just a little bit off here. So this is going to be here. I've kind of centered myself back with those white little marks. The nice thing is I can see through this ruler. I'm making sure this is just past the 3-inch mark here, just past the 3-inch mark here. And then I'm going to move this so that it's almost the outside. Okay, I need to put this right here. I can still see my centering marks right there. And then I want to have the inside be, the inside of the die is going to be at 1 7/8 kind of on either side. So once I know that I can see, oops, nope, sorry, I need to move this up a little bit. Basically, you want it to look on the, my phone just picked up. It thought I needed help. I probably do need help. So I'm just going to try and center this so that the edge looks the same on both ends. And so I need to move this down just a teeny tiny bit. Back up. This is only if you don't want to eyeball it. I kind of like to have things precise. Once you get one of these situated in the right spot, you can actually create a template for yourself that you can trace each time, and then you just need to get this done right once. Okay, I think that is about as good as it's going to get centered wise. It is just, the outside is just inside of the 2 inches. And they look the same, so I'm just going to put a mark now here and a mark now there. So when I take this over to my die cutting machine, I will know exactly where everything is. Once you've got this lined up and you have a hole in it, then save one of these pieces. You can make one out of scrap cardstock first, and then you just line up your piece over top of the other one, and you do your little marks up at the top and on the sides for each of them, and then you will be able to use those guides to cut for the future. Okay, let's grab our die cutting machine. And we'll need our base platform number 1, thin die adapter number 2. We'll need cutting plate for the bottom. It was clear, it's been scarred, and then we have a cutting plate for the top. They are labeled number 3. Okay, so we'll grab this piece. And And you know, if you don't want to be as precise as me, you could also just eyeball it and center it that way. I don't know. I think some of you probably like me and you want to make sure it's centered, but you could also eyeball it. I just wanted this one to be centered. So let me carefully put my second plate on top so nothing shifts. And now we're going to run this through the machine. Okay. So now we have cut away this inside. You can use this for something else. My white colored pencil actually does erase, so I could use this label. Then we're going to take the Peaceful Greenery embossing folder. I need to get rid of the number 2 thin die adapter and my clear cutting plate. Those are going, so I just have the base platform on there right now. And then I'm going to grab, where did it go? I'm going to grab my number 4 plate. This is for thick embossing folders. So you're going to take your embossing folder now and you're going to just line up that window you cut like that. Okay, and then just close it up, put it on here, and we're going to run it through. I like to cut the window first because if you go through with the embossing, it's not going to show, it's going to flatten the embossing a little bit if you do the embossing first. So that's why I cut my window first. You could also go back and do your embossing a second time, but then you're going to have to make sure you match up the folder exactly to where you had it. Okay, let's pop this away for the moment. We're going to die cut at the end a little bit, but let's just do this in order. So I noticed when I got to this stage, I was like, oh, I kind of used a very dark color cardstock and the embossing doesn't show up too well. So I'm going to show you how to remedy that. If you have the Craft white ink refill, you can buy this separately or you can buy it with an ink pad. This is pretty thick. I don't know if it actually, I can't actually feel it mixing up, but we're going to take it and we're just going to put it on something that can be cleaned afterwards or something you want to throw away, and just kind of put like a little dot on there. And I'm going to use a sponge dauber, get some ink on there, and I'm just going to lightly rub over. And you may have to do this a couple of times because the white does kind of sink in a little bit. But you're just going to go over the embossing lightly with your sponge dauber. And that's going to help kind of bring out the embossing a little bit and not have it be so light. So as this dries, it's going to dry a little lighter. So you're just going to kind of just gently go around. This is actually really fun to do this because it's kind of like it's not there and then you're bringing it to life. So this is, it dries a little bit lighter. So kind of as you're going around, you might decide to do a second round right away. So I'm going to just take a little bit more. And we're just going to go over it a second time, just quickly. It just helps bring out those little accents. And that way I can use a dark color cardstock for the top. You could do this with any color. Okay. All right, I kind of like the way that looks. And then to get this off, I didn't try it with soap and water, but I tried it with rubbing alcohol this morning. I kind of let it dry overnight, and it does come off with rubbing alcohol in case. It may also come off with soap and water. I didn't test that. I had rubbing alcohol at my desk, so I know it comes off with that. So in case you're worried about that, you can absolutely, you know, get it cleaned off your block. All right, so now we're going to come back in and we are going to fold our box, or this is the slider cover. Let's put some things away. I'm building a little pile of stuff that is, oh, I do need this. I need my bone folder. I'm kind of letting this dry a bit. I don't know how long it will take to dry. The cardstock will, it will soak up some of the moisture in the ink refill, but it might still, you don't want to handle this too much at the beginning, just to make sure that it's kind of dry. Okay, so you see we folded in and we have these little tabs up at the top, and that is what our top is going to attach to. So we're going to do one at a time, and we're going to take this folded over tab, and I'm going to put glue all the way along the length of it. And then I'm going to line up this piece with the edge. Make sure it is on the edge. It might help if you put it down. Okay. Like this. You just want to make sure it lines up nicely. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm going to just flatten this out on this side. I'm going to avoid my embossing, but I'm just going to press down with my bone folder to make sure that that side is adhered. And then we can take this side over here and put glue all the way along it. And this time, I'm going to flatten this out a bit. We can glue this one with the box being flattened and just kind of do this. And press right here, avoiding the embossing because you don't want to flatten out the embossing. But you can kind of press along that seam like that. And then this seam like this. Okay. So you don't have to put window sheet behind here, but if you do, it does kind of make a more finished look to your project. So for that, you're going to need a piece that measures 4.5 by 6, okay? I am putting this window sheet on after the fact. You could have put it on before, but then I would have cut it a bit smaller to avoid the tabs. This sheet is going to kind of, what it's going to do, it's also going to help support the top of your slider cover. So if you cut it, I just cut it like a 1/8 inch shorter than the width and the length so that it helps support. But it's also going to sit right over top of these tabs that are holding over the front of the box. So the way you do that is you kind of just take your glue and you're going to draw a rectangle. I'm going to say about 1/4 of an inch from the edge. And then you're going to go again kind of around another 1/4 inch over. And then I'm just going to kind of draw across a little kind of diagonal. And that's basically, I know you can barely see that. What I'm going to do now is going to lift this up. I'm going to slide it into the bottom of here, all the way to the end. And then I'm just going to lift it up. I'm going to feel with my fingers to make sure that it doesn't go over on either side. And then I can kind of press this flat. You just want to make sure that you're not, I'm doing this all in one go. When I added the window sheet yesterday, my embossing had a chance to dry a bit. So just make sure you're not pressing on the embossing too much. And there you go. You have your windowed slider cover. And then we can take this and, moment of truth, right? Let's always do your boxes fit together. Ta-da! Kind of looks like a tissue box too, doesn't it? With that kind of that die cut opening. So it could be a little tissue box. Transfer your tissues into here. Okay, it's too pretty for that. Okay, so then we're going to take some of this ribbon, and this is Misty Moonlight, and it's got really pretty silver edging on it. This is this bundle is part of a bigger suite. I will show you the paper that comes with it in a moment. The only bad thing about the paper right now, the pattern paper is on back order. It will be back in stock in about 2 weeks, but I wouldn't wait to get this. Actually, I have to double check on that. I can't remember if it's November or October. I think it's October it's coming in. I'll double check. I was pretty sure it was 2 weeks, but you know, my brain coming back from vacation is not what it should be. The ribbon is available though. I will show you the paper. I would get the other parts of this bundle now because it's not really great to wait, because then the bundle, the die set might, and the embossing folder might sell out in the meantime. And then we're marching on towards Christmas. And then if things, you know, say this is going to retire, which it may very well retire, then we're going to get into the issue where you might not be able to get it. Let me measure this ribbon I'm talking. And so this one is 12. You're going to need about 18 inches of ribbon to tie around here. This makes for a really easy way to decorate the box, just by tying some pretty ribbon around here. And I'm just gonna lock tweezers on my knot, and then I'm gonna go ahead and very carefully, I'm gonna pull this so my knot looks good. Okay, don't want to pull it too tight. I don't want the box to bow. So there we go. And then you can just angle cut. I had a little bit over 18 inches. So you might be able to get away with 17 inches, but I think 18 inches is a good amount to wrap away around there. And then finally, we want to add some of the little doves. You've got 2 different doves to choose from. I'm going to use this dove for the top. So let's grab, I did cut some little cardstock pieces, or grab some cardstock scraps. We're going to bring back in our Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Put the embossing folder away. We're going to need our thin die adapter again, the number 2, and then we're going to put down our cutting plate, and our clear plate will go on top. So this piece just barely fits one of the doves, and we're just going to run that through And I like that these little, they're kind of like little feathers. Okay, and then I have another scrap piece. It's a little bigger. Sometimes it's good just to have your scraps together so that you can use them for little tiny die cuts that you probably couldn't make much of a card with anymore, but having some little scraps to work with is always nice. Okay. You want a stick, don't you? All right. Okay. I'm going to move this out of the way. And we're going to grab some dimensionals. And I'm going to put 2 dimensionals on the back of my little dove. And the reason I'm doing this is I'm going to put these right on top of each other. Line up. But what this does is it gives this a little bit of depth and dimension, and when you look at it from an angle, it kind of, I don't know, it kind of gives the more of a shadow illusion of flying. So let's bring this in, and again we're going to add some more dimensionals on the back of here. I could have spaced them out a little better, but you can do that yourself when you do that. And then we're just going to add this on top like that. So when you turn it, I don't know, it just gives it like a little bit extra dimension to have kind of that shadow bird behind there. But you don't have to do that. I forgot to do it on my first one, so it just has dimensionals on the bottom bird. But I don't know, for some reason, when the light hits it just right, this bird will have more dimension. And look, I put this in the wrong way. I need an assistant to call out the things I'm doing wrong. There we go. So there is the box without any cards in it, and here's the box with some cards in it. I was going to show you a couple of things that also come with the suite. So let's do that first. So this is the gorgeous paper that comes with the suite, and it is really pretty. We've got this side and this side, got this side and this side. No wonder it's sold out, right? This and this. So this is like, you know, you could use this for your Christmas cards with the Peace on Earth greeting, but it does not have to be. It does not have to be. You can use it at other times of the year. Here are some of the doves, but the other side is pretty and it's more neutral. Here we've got kind of some branches with some berries, and then kind of also, I think this is Lost Lagoon. So we're doing a lot of hues of blue with this paper. And then that paper's the same. Let me just see if there's one paper that I've missed. Oh, I think it's this one. This one with other doves, and we've kind of got like a neutral, this is like a crumb cake. I think I've showed you all the patterns. I may not have shown you that one. Leaves with kind of a neutral Lost Lagoon pattern. So this, a very pretty paper. It's on back order right now, but they are going to bring some more back in. Gorgeous paper. And then there's also this glimmer paper, and glimmer paper this time of year always makes everything look better. You can see on here the little stars that I did in the glimmer paper, and then a little star there. Isn't that cute? Yes. Okay. So then in here, I think there's 3 colors that come in here. Let's open it up. I made the cards a long time ago, so I haven't opened this package since. So we've got our nice silver. We've got two kind of, this is, I think I would call this blueberry bushel almost color. And then this one is, I would say it's kind of misty moonlight, a little bit of secret sea. What colors do they call them? I don't think they have I think this was a package that they had the wrong colors on it. It says blue, dark gray, and soft green. There is no soft green. This is definitely a silver, blueberry almost, and I would call this like secret sea, or misty moonlight, kind of a cross between the two. But you get 2 sheets of each. If you need blue sparkly paper for your holiday projects, pick up a pack of this paper. It is so pretty. I love blues. Okay, one other thing I want to show you. I wanted to show you this card here. This is one we made during that Creativity Now, that demonstrator event. And let's just, I'm going to undo the knot for you. You don't know how this pains me after I get the perfect knot to have to undo it, but I'm going to do it just for all of you, the sacrifices I make. So this card, it ties at the bottom, and then it opens up here. Isn't that cute? Peace, love, and joy. I think we did some blending brush up there, some work on that. And then we stamped peace, love, and joy in there. And then this was just, it looks like we cut a piece that was just a little bit of the embossing folder, or I don't know if we embossed it before or afterwards. And then this is a label, and it actually, there are these little things in there, I think, that are meant to create holes, but I just created my own holes with our little slot punch, because it was easier. Let me just grab the slot punch for reference. So with this little guy, this is also what I use for the ribbon savers when I'm creating them. Not all my ribbon savers, but some of them. I used it for this ribbon saver here. The reason I used it for this one is because this ribbon has a lot of little pieces sticking out, and I didn't want to crunch the ribbon and possibly damage the sides of the ribbon. So I'm always, when I'm doing my ribbon savers, I'm always looking at the ribbon and deciding what width of slot to do. So this one I used for this one, and then this one I used for my slots that I just punched at the, oh, actually I just punched it at the bottom. I don't see a slot. It comes through here, it goes behind, and it wraps around like this. And then you tie it right here at the bottom. So I'm not going to tie that right now because I need my full concentration, and also I might want to look at it one more time while it's done. So this is the beautiful or elegant little box. This is a great box. Even if you don't emboss the top, you could also decorate the top with paper. You know, if you didn't want to do that, the embossing and the white craft ink, you could just cut a nice piece of designer series paper for the top. You could pop a label in the center. Or another thing is you could also, you know, die cut like a separate piece and emboss it and then put a label on top. There's lots of ways to decorate this. So just a good blueprint for our card box in general that will hold, you know, quite a few cards and envelopes. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. I kind of hesitated doing this project this week just because the paper wasn't available, but then I thought that's silly, because right now we are going to have runs on consumable items, And I know a lot of you are hoarding paper anyway, so you might have paper that you're going to use instead of this one. So I wanted to make sure that you had this in time. You could make a bunch of Christmas cards for people in your life. Maybe you have like a mother that likes to write Christmas cards. You could make her a bunch to give. So you know, it's a nice way to gift some cards, and this is a particularly nice stamp set with the greetings that go with it, right? So nice, very, very nice, beautifully written words on this particular stamp set. So, well, thank you all for joining me today. I go live and I let you chat, and I go back and I read the comments right after I finish this portion. So I will say hello to you in a minute. But if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, I would love it if you would subscribe. Give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment. I appreciate that so much because it helps me get seen by other people. No matter what way you engage with my channel or with my videos, and I really appreciate that. So I'm going to say hello to all of you this morning. I already said hello to Valerie and hello to Nina and Ellie. Nina says, welcome home. Thank you. Hello, Tanya from Kentucky. Good morning, Deirdre. Hello, Mary. Hello, Joy. Hello, Nancy. Yeah, Nancy, that was quite an ordeal getting home. But the good thing was, so, you know, kind of two parameters that I have that kind of stabilize me during the day is I need to walk every day. I walk about at least 4 miles. I need at least 10,000 steps to operate and be happy. So I pretty much do that without fail, even if I'm like very sick. I rarely get very sick, but I need to walk. So, you know, when we got up in the morning that day, I walked. We had to rush to get into the car. We were taking our time. Our flight was supposed to be at 7:30, but then we had to take an earlier flight at 5:30. So then we had to hustle. We got to the Boston airport. My husband likes to do, not Boston, Buffalo airport. My husband has a lot of lounge passes, so we got to the lounge. We had kind of an early dinner, and then we left the lounge and we did half an hour of walking, and then we got on our flight, and then my husband was figuring out, when we got to JFK, figuring out the rental car situation. And so I walked around the terminal. I got another walk in, and then we got like another salad. And so if I eat right and I walk, I can be pretty happy no matter what happens. So I was able to navigate through the day without too much craziness. It was just very late, and then the next day I was just not very with it. So, but and I tried to take a nap, and that worked for 5 minutes, and then I had a contractor call me back, and then that was it for my napping. Anyway, it all worked out, and today I am feeling much better. Hello, Deborah. Hello, Catherine. Hello, Tina. Ellie says she loves boxes with windows. They're kind of fun, aren't they? Because they have like a fun see-through surprise in them. Hello, Carol. She says she can always use a card box design. Yeah, this is great. This is going to be a great design for gifting cards, no matter what. And you can decorate it up in many different ways. Hello, Lois. And she says, what a useful project. Hello, Verblue, and from Missouri. Hello, Christina from Georgia. Ellie says, yay, bee stampers. Ellie's on my bee stampers team. I have a few team members here this morning. And we have just a wonderful, very kind team. They're an awesome group Hello, Mary, and she says it's 51 degrees in Indiana. It was pretty cold here. I think it was, I don't know, I think it was in the 40s this morning here. It's starting to get really cold, but that's what jackets are for, and hats, right? Hello, Linda from Oregon. Hello, Shirley from Washington. Are you in Washington State or Washington, D.C.? I don't think I've been to Washington, D.C., but I have been to Washington State. Hello, Margot from California. Hello, Carol from Florida. Dee says, my videos are always wonderful. Thank you, Dee. That's very sweet. Hello, Marge. She's going to watch the replay because she missed the beginning. Hello, Lynn. She says, so beautiful. Deborah says she loves the box, especially the color. Thank you. I don't know. I hope I mentioned that this color of cardstock that I used on the top is Secret Sea. It's one of our new in colors. It's beautiful deep blue black. It is darker than our Night of Navy cardstock. So it's a blue black. In fact, when you stamp with the ink, I can't tell that it's blue. It reads black with my eyesight, so it's a very deep color. Hello, Candy. She says she's joining late. Oh, darn work meetings, right? Work keeps interrupting our lives, right? Hello, Mommy Roo. She says, beautiful box. And she says she loves the white craft ink. It gives it a nice pop. It does. And I don't use it enough, right? It is kind of fun to help bring out that embossing. And it's still very subtle, right? It's just very subtle, but it just makes it pop so that it isn't missed. Because if you're going to do all that work and the embossing and the centering and all of that, you at least want to make it count, right? Ellie said, name again of the Sparklers blue paper, please. Okay, I will get that for you, Ellie. Someone probably already told you, but this one is called Peaceful Garden Glimmer Paper. Item number 165929, and that's the one where you get the silver and then the 2 shades of blue. It's always good to have a little glimmer paper. You often don't need a lot of it, right? You just need like little pops to make accents. You can make great embellishments out of here with little smaller dies. So it's just very useful to have some glimmer paper and all the colors. And we don't always carry it anymore. We have the foil sheet, which is like a flat. So whenever there is a new glimmer color, you kind of want to collect it so you have a bit of it to add pops to things. Candy says, cute projects. Thank you, glad. Glad to have you back live. I thought you were going to say, glad that you got back alive. I kind of feel like that after my ordeal to get back in town. But yes, thank you. I'm glad to be back live too. Nina says, thumbs up. Thank you, Nina. And Linda asked what color of cardstock I use. Sorry, I mentioned it now. It's Secret Sea. And Nancy says, could be a nice candy box too. Yes, I should have mentioned that. This would look really sweet with, maybe some sparkly, silvery candy, maybe a combo, get some kisses. There's all different kinds of holiday candy that you could put in this box. This box has 1 1/8 inch depth. Let's do a little experiment. I'm going over to my candy area. Okay, well, let's just see out of curiosity. I know it's going to fit kisses because kisses usually fit under the 1 inch mark. Well, let's see. Now, I wouldn't necessarily recommend Ferrero Rocher because this does have kind of a silvery bent to it, but maybe not. I mean, if you're doing this up differently, let's see. Okay, so I am just, okay, the Ferrero Rocher is not quite right. You can kind of see it's bowing out there. So Ferrero Rocher, no. Not the Ferrero Rocher. Let's see how about these Lindor, if they are under the mark. Okay, Lindor will roll around in there, and they are very pretty and come in a whole host of colors. So no to Ferrero Rocher, yes to Lindor truffles. You can mix them up with some Kisses or other candy. So you've got about 1 1/8 here, and so different candy will fit in, but of course not all candy. We have different boxes for different kinds of candy, right? So let me just pop that over there and back to me. So that's always kind of neat. Hello, Christina. All right. Cindy says it's raining in Everett, Washington. Ugh, not a big fan of rain, but we need it. While we were gone, I think we had 2 days of rain here, and thankfully up in Canada, we only had 1 short morning of rain. So I think I dodged a rain bullet while we were up in Canada, so that was nice. Lynn asked, did you remember to give a thumbs up? Thank you, Lynn, for the reminder. And Cindy said, thank you for another treat idea. I've been making batch cards to use up my stash, right? And this is a nice way to gift them. And think about, maybe some of you do craft fairs. This is also a nice way to have, here's an idea for you. If you buy X number of cards, like say you buy 5 cards, you get a free gift box, or box to put your cards in. And you could make this simpler. I probably wouldn't go through the trouble of putting a window in it then, but you could make a generic one of these and then just have them on hand, right? Because it will be much easier if maybe you just do like a plain cover or just like a little bit of designer series paper on the cover. So that will be an incentive, like at the craft fair, that if you buy several cards, that you get this for free. I don't know, you'd have to work out the math and the trouble it takes you to make the box and stuff, but people love to have packaging, right? So that would be kind of an incentive that you could use to get a free card box, right? Maru says, thank you and have a great weekend. Nita says the gingerbread man and Little Debbie gingerbread wrapped cookies. Oh, I've not seen those. We would need to try that. I've never used Little Debbie anything, so that would be something to look out for, especially if they're individually wrapped. I do feel like I did make, the gingerbread box a while back. Now this is a little bit of a simpler box, but if you were going to be making more gingerbread men, you could also use this box, because this box is fairly thin for one. This you could maybe stack 2 or 3 depending on how big your cookies were. So that's also an option, kind of mix and match boxes. All right. Well, thank you everyone for oh, Nina says Little Debbie cookies flatter, their cakes are too high. Okay, well I'll have a look at the bakery section in my store and see what I can find for the future. That's always fun to find something new to put inside boxes, right? Thank you for that tip. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Look for my project sheet tomorrow. My project sheet will have a diagram for you, so it will help you when you are making your boxes. And I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.